So there was this little recent update which changed a load of the equipment within World of Tanks console, or World of Tanks Modern Armour as it's actually called, and of course with that there came some new equipment, there came some changes to that equipment, there came changes to crew skills, and today I'm going to show off one of the funnest builds that I've had recently, which is of course jumping back into one of my oldest vehicles that I've ever had on the game. One of the first tier 10s, if not the first tier 10 I ever got on the game. It is the IS-7. And obviously those of you who are wondering, like, what is a good tier 10 to get as a starter vehicle, one of the ones that is generally well versed in lots of different ranges with regards to alpha, with regards to having armor, with mobility, and just generally one of the more easygoing vehicles in the game to be able to learn the game and that sort of thing. The IS-7 is definitely one of them, but the way that we're playing it is a little bit different. We have got equipment that gives us either speed, it gives us maneuverability, or it gives us some protection against ramming. And the whole point is ramming with this setup that we've got, and we've got a couple of gameplays to showcase off. Those of you who watched the stream recently that we did on the weekend will have seen the ramming that we managed to give out to the enemy team. And the replays that we're showcasing off today are somewhat similar, but will not be featuring as much ramming as I was hoping to when I was running through in my games, purely down to the fact that we didn't get the best maps to go around ramming people. But hey ho, we've got a couple of rams in there for you guys. So in terms of what we're actually taking on the IS-7 to perform in this ramming build, we have got Spool Liner, which gives us ramming and explosion defense, which is really important because this is going to provide us with more defense against ramming, which, if we are the one doing the ramming, will decrease the damage that we're taking when we ram someone, which means we can survive longer, where we can go around, we're ramming more people. It just basically helps us out when we do decide to ram something, especially more heavily armored targets where maybe it would be that you would actually lose health versus how much damage you dealt. So say you would have done 500 damage and taken 600, you're actually only now taking 400 instead of the 600 basically. So really useful, and makes that ramming build even better. And then it also helps with things from explosion. So if someone misses you with artillery, you don't take as much damage. It doesn't count for direct hits with artillery with HE, and yeah, AP rounds obviously they can just bounce or they'll pen, so that doesn't help. Improve ventilation, this is to boost up our crew performance, so things like track repair speed, view range, accuracy, all of those sorts of things going to get buffed by the improved vents. Not necessarily like mandatory, you could go with a gun rammer, it's absolutely fine, but crew performance across the board is what is going to help out our ramming, because it does affect various different things about the tank. We've got additional grousers, which gives us better handling, which means we can maintain the top speed. Those of you wondering, the IS-7 doesn't get what the speed says. So the speed says it can go 62 kilometers an hour. It isn't actually that fast because our power to weight ratio is 18.48 as we got it right now, with that boost to the horsepower which we get from one of the other pieces of equipment. So even as a standard, it's even less than that. And horsepower is the thing that allows you to get up to top speed. So whilst you go down a slope at 62 kilometers an hour, you're not going to be able to maintain that speed as soon as you go onto flat terrain, that sort of stuff, because your horsepower to weight ratio is just not actually as good. So if we can buff that up, that is what is going to be nice. And the traction system allows us to just basically have more terrain, like resistance is going to be better for us. So you should be able to maintain speed better, which should keep us at a higher speed overall. And going up hills and that sort of thing, it helps out too. Our rotation speed, basically, so we can turn a little bit easier, especially if someone is trying to run out of the way of your ram, you can hit them even better. And then turbocharger to give us more speed and more horsepower, the most important bit being the horsepower, not the actual top speed, because often we're not actually getting up to top speed anyway. And so if we can get up to top speed faster using the horsepower of this thing, it's going to be better, and the top speed just helps us out a little bit as well. Now there are some alterations. Obviously you could swap out vents for gun rammer to make it a bit more easy when you're going round and trying to do damage apart from the ramming, because you can't just spend the entire game just going for ramming damage, which is just going to lead you to a very sudden and very quick removal from the game and back in the garage. But moving on over to the commander skills, we are of course running Born Leader for the crew effectiveness or crew performance and skill effectiveness, basically boosting up all of them. Running Gun for accuracy when we're moving, because we're basically always going to be moving in the IS-7. Clutch Braking for increased hull rotation speed, so that's going to help us out a little bit more. We're then running off-road driving, so 7.5% increase to handling on medium and soft terrain. So once again, going to help out our terrain resistances so we can maintain a top speed much better. We've then got dynamic driving, so 20% decrease to ram damage to self and a 20% increase to ram damage to an enemy, which basically means we're dealing like the differential is 40%. So essentially we're going down, they're going up. So whilst you're not dealing 40% more damage, you are essentially going to distribute the ramming damage better. So you're taking less damage when you ram but dealing more, which is important when we're going for a ramming build, the most important thing. Camo expertise could just swap this out to something that is going to provide us with more accuracy, like snapshot. I should probably do that. I think that this is just a crew that I swapped over from something else, and so that is what I would recommend doing. Situational awareness for more view range, that just helps us out even more, and I would recommend running situational awareness, removing the camo expertise and putting on snapshot, for example. Or as we go into the next page, having ourselves supply conservation. This is so we can recharge our consumables faster. So that means when I was running fuel in this thing, which is a potential option, it does help out. And then if you're not running fuel, I would take this off and replace it with something like general mechanic or track mechanic to improve our, because the main thing about a ramming build is someone goes for a track, when they see you coming towards them, it stops you from being able to ram, takes away your speed, and then they can maybe outflank you or whatever, which is not ideal. And then we're taking armor angling for reduced damage received, which also counts for ramming damage, so we're just basically taking 5% less damage when we're ramming as well as any other shell. Anything else that hits you will also take less damage, so that just improves our survivability. So yeah, in terms of things, I would recommend supply conservation probably gets removed, as well as the camo expertise for this specific build. But now we move on to, of course, the thing that I tested out. So we did run with enhanced fuel boost, which improves our top speed by 5%. And then when we activate it, we actually improve our horsepower by 10%. So it's quite a big differential. You can get an extra like 1.8% increased horsepower to ton, which is actually considerable. It does actually affect you, as well as giving you another passive boost of 10% turret rotation speed. That isn't really an issue anyway, but at the same time, you are sacrificing a piece of equipment, and considering how powerful enhanced repair kit is, giving you a minus 15% repair time and being like usable all of the time, and being able to use it multiple times, it's really important. And it's going to help us get re-tracked or do our tracks back up after we get tracked or whatever, or we've already used our repair kit. So that is probably one of the most powerful ones, but the most powerful is the enhanced rations, giving us a plus 15% active use to crew performance, which is view range, reload, track repair speed, etc. when you use this, and it's really powerful in general. The best piece of equipment in the game, hands down. And then of course plus 5% passive boost to your crew performance as well. So swapping out one of them to get fuel, I typically go with a med kit, but the med kit, if you do take it out, if you do get your driver knocked out, and if we go into the armor viewer, maybe the module viewer actually, and have a look at the crew. The driver is at the very front, and often the driver is the thing that gets knocked out when you get hit in the IS-7, which does mean that, yeah, you get the driver knocked out quite often. And when you're going for a ramming build, the whole point of it is that you can turn around, you can quickly move, you can go forward, and when your driver gets knocked out, you have a massive reduction to all of those things. So it's kind of like one half of one, two halves of another. Like there were just some games where I had terrible games because we got a driver knocked out straight off the bat, and because it's in the front and the pike nose of this thing, basically every angle where you get penned will hit the driver, unless like, because even if you're angling like this, the upper plate, which people can go for, will hit the driver, the lower plate will hit the driver from the front, the lower plate will hit the driver, and so yeah, it's kind of an issue with this tank. So not having a med kit kind of felt really bad because I was just trying to go for ramming in this setup. So yeah, it's kind of pointless if you get your driver knocked out. So it's one of those interesting things. But I think in terms of the best way to go about it, I would take a med kit, to be honest, just in case your driver does get knocked out. And with the frequency of driver knockouts in the IS-7, it is relatively frequent. So yeah, that's what I would recommend to you guys in terms of having like a more playable, more all-round build, and one that can ram at the exact same time with high probability of dominating people with that ram too anyway. It's not worth the extra horsepower or, you know, max speed that you do get from the enhanced fuel boost, to be honest, in my opinion. So with all of that out of the way, we're running with premium rounds just because the IS-7 standard rounds, when you are like brawling so close, like you're going into ram, it is a disadvantage to have AP in this thing, because 250 it's like not awful, but it is going to potentially bounce if you are aiming, and you want to make sure, since we're primarily sacrificing so much of the DPM, the maneuverability, or not the maneuverability, but like the other things that come alongside, the accuracy, that sort of thing, that you really want to make them be most out of using those premium rounds to ensure that when you do hit someone, it does pen. And even with 303 pen, if you're coming up against super heavies, it could be potentially a bit of a pain, because you can miss now in the game, which is amazing. But that's something I want to talk about. The IS-7 does actually bounce rounds now. It is not just an auto pen when people auto aim you. It can hit the turret, it can bounce. People can hit the turret, it can bounce. When you're maneuvering around, you can do a little wiggle with the hull of the tank like this, and people will hit the wrong plate and it bounces. And oh my word, did we bounce a hell of a lot more in the IS-7 since this update. It feels so much nicer to play, and just generally really, really fun to give a go. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a ton of fun. And so let's jump in to the live stream, where it will basically be me on the live stream, so you can see one of the clips where we just rammed quite a few people, and we'll jump into a game as well on the live stream, which was very, very good as well. So if you want to join me on live streams, obviously I stream on YouTube and I do have a Twitch as well, but we'll have to set that up and try and make it a bit more professional for the future, and trying to work my way towards saving up some money so I can get a next mic that will just be basically better for live streaming, because whilst I can make the mic that I have right now sound somewhat decent, yeah, it's not ideal. So thank you very much. Let's jump into the replays, and yeah, hopefully you enjoy. I think we got to hope that someone goes down on the beach and then come in for a little side slam, if you know what I mean. I think that's about the only place we can actually full on YOLO. What is going on in this game then? On a serious note, what is going on? These are very questionable players, and I'm going to get pounded by the Ruthless, I already know. Bounce one off my backside. No, man. Yes, honestly, hold that. There we go. The 57 heavy. I don't know why they've all pushed like down here. It's that was definitely a weird play, I will not lie. Get rid of this guy. Interesting. Oh my god. This could be it. No, we're too slow. The art ears wanted me bad. Yeah, hold that. Oh my RAM. Please. Yes. Hey there, Chisel. How's it going? There's so much more room. There's so much more room for ramming. Oh, there's an E4. Let's go for some damage on this guy. Now, if I can somehow wingle... I don't even know what that word is. Wingle. Where have I got that from? If I can worm my way into finding this guy. Okay, if you're gonna ram into me, that's absolutely fine. There's a TD in the back. It's a Death Star. Uh-oh. There could be one more victim. No, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Medium, leave him alone. Don't shoot, let him burn. That's what I've heard. Let's not get hit for 1900. No, 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 no. Medium, leave him alone. Yes. Nice wingle. I've wingled my way. I have 5.5k. We actually rammed 3 people in that game. There you go. The IS-7 is back. Now the question is, do I push aggressively to start with? It can work. It can also mess you up as well. There we go. I'm loving this support. Every shot's a great shot. I'm loving it. Right, it's time to just go in. That is... We protect. Bro. We reverse. We gave him a little touch up from my bum. As if that hit. No, Squall, leave him alone. Lots of beer involved, probably. Yeah, I think he was enjoying it. Well, there we go.